All right, guys, let's talk about the Rangers coaching staff. I know we've talked a lot about Bochy, and we will. Okay, yes. He's done a tremendous job. I wanted to know maybe how much credit should guys like Tim Hires. I know there's multiple hitting coaches now, but I'll just use him for example. There's Seth Connor, who's assistant hitting coach. We know who Mike Maddox is. I'm just wondering how much credit should we be giving these guys. Now, Mike Maddox he was given a veteran staff, at least the starting pitchers, right? And that's where a pitching coach, just so people understand, a pitching coach has a tough time affecting the bullpen. People might not understand that and go, why? Well, those guys have to be ready every day. They can't really practice with them every day. So, just going to today, Mike Maddox at 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. at some point is going to have a whole 30-minute private coaching session with Andrew Heaney. So Andrew Heaney is going to throw long toss, and Mike Maddox is going to kind of watch that, and then he's going to go to the pen, and he's going to throw anywhere from 35 to 55 pitches. It just matters how your arm's feeling, where you're at in the season, stuff like that. And Mike Maddox and him are going to go over what he's doing. Hey, stay back on this one. Hey, get the ball to your glove early. Hey, keep your chin up on this. Hey, make sure you finish the pitch or decelerate, whatever it is. Yeah. And there's also computers that go with it now too. But you have that. He can't do that with Jose Leclerc. Sure. You're not able to do that. Jose Leclerc can't go throw a 20-pitch bullpen most likely today because he might throw 20 to 30 pitches in the game today. So just to give you an idea on Mike Maddox and the pitching coach. But how much credit should we maybe be giving the hitting coaches? Because on a piece of paper as the season started, your lineup didn't look superior.
Okay. I'm glad that you said that because let's think about this. The Rangers spent a lot of money, not this past offseason, but the one before that, on Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, right? So I was looking at the lineup and when you asked how much credit the coaches get. So Marcus Semien leads the entire team in offensive WAR. You take that stat. If you don't like it, I hope you'll bear with me nonetheless. And Corey Seager has clearly been hurt. Here is how offensive WAR goes from this team from Marcus Semien. Jonah Heim, Nathaniel Lowe, Adolis Garcia, Travis Jankowski, Leody Taveras, Ezekiel Duran, Josh Young. This is not a group that you would have thought going in. What a murderer's row of an offense that you have to face. So I definitely think you got to give some credit there. Yeah, and nothing against when I played on the Cleveland Indians my rookie year. You tell me how much hitting coaching I have to do if my lineup's Kenny Lofton, Omar Vizquel, Robbie Alomar, Juan Gonzalez, Jim Tomei, Ellis Burks, Travis Fryman, Marty Cordova, and Enar Diaz. That was our lineup. You kind of just say, go get them, boys. Yeah. There's, as Charlie Manuel would say back then, how about that, Kenny Lofton? Yes, there was coaching going on. I'm not trying to take away from Charlie Manuel, who is our manager and also a great hitting coach. Too. But sometimes you get guys that have played 8 to 10 years in the major leagues and have Hall of Fame stats or MVPs to their name that you're just I don't really need to do much here. There's some tweaking here, but these guys have been through the battles, through the wars. But you're talking about right now, this coaching staff and the hitting coaches having to work with Josh Young, Jonah Heim, Leody Taveras, at times Bubba Thompson, at times. I know Jankowski's 31 years old, but it's not like he's an everyday good player that you're just we picked him up. He's great. You go do your thing. Thumbs up. I'm just going to watch you hit the ball. There's a few guys that you can be for Marcus Semien and for Corey Seager that you can kind of just say, go get them. Yep. But all other guys, for the most part, you are probably having to work pretty hard to get the most out of them, and they're getting the most out of them.
Mike, what is an offensive coordinator in baseball? Because that's Donnie Ecker's job right now. Or
I don't exactly know. I think that's a great question for Chris Bochy. Young or Bochy. Okay. To be what does Donnie Ecker exactly do? Because I know back when I played, which wasn't that long ago, I was in the major leagues in 2007, but that is 15, 16 years ago now, is you had a pitching coach, a hitting coach, a manager. Those were your three
bench coach.
Well, you have a bench coach who's a main guy too. You have your first base coach and your third base coach, but they usually also share defensive coaching responsibilities, whether they're an infield coach or outfield coach, like Gary Pettis, third base coach or first base coach in his time and still coaching now. And he's also the outfield coach. But now you've added 5 to 6 other people. You have an assistant pitching coach. You have a bullpen coach, which we had a bullpen coach, but he's pretty much just keeping charts and answering the phone.
Okay.
Nothing against that guy, but that is a great job to have. You don't have much responsibility as a bullpen coach. There's responsibility, don't get me wrong, but you are not really coaching pitching.
Pay good?
Not really.
Okay, all right.
For amount of responsibility, though, it might not be that bad.
Yeah. All right, so you're in the major leagues. You're not getting pension off of that job as a bullpen coach. But I do want to get to, go ahead, Corey, if you have an important question, but I do want to get to audio here.
Ecker came from San Francisco. He came from the Giants.
Okay.
He was drafted by the Rangers. And then he comes over here, and I know Bochy was kind of interested in looking at some other people, but then he sticks with some of the people the Rangers have, and I'm just kind of curious what that job is. So we'll get to that later.
It's a good question. Yeah. I just, because there was no such thing as that when I played, honestly, Derek might have a better answer to that than I do, and he might not have an answer because he is a pitcher.
Yeah.
So he might be like, I don't know what the offensive coordinator does. I have enough to deal with pitching type of deal. But I have this audio here, and this is from Will Clark and Eric Burns. They are a very good follow on Instagram. They do cuss quite a bit. So
yes, I've heard.
But
that.
It is a fun follow. At times it's very entertaining. At times it's very informative. And I think this is very informative about Bruce Bochy. So we just talked about the hitting coaches. I think they should get a lot of credit. I think Mike Maddox got handed a very nice staff, but is also doing a great job with that staff too. And here is so many people like, well, what's the difference between Woody and Bochy? Bochy just has a good team and Woody never did. That's partly true. I think there's always kind of half-truths and stuff like that. But here's what Bochy is doing, which Chris Woodward wouldn't do.
You know, I mean, it just shows you how Dusty Baker and Bruce Bochy old school manage. They go with the hot hand. That's how the old schools do it. They don't do it, platooning and going with the numbers off of this guy and all that. No, dude had a great night last night. Let him build on it. That is part of the game that you and I have been talking about that needs to come back.
I couldn't agree more. For week periods of a time, like week, when I say week, I mean like one, I could be one of the best players in baseball, and then the next week I could be one of the So that was the one thing that was really frustrating playing for the A's, and it was just like, wait, hold on a second. So I had 2 knocks off of Kevin Brown. I had 3 knocks of Matt Clement. I took Keith Falk deep that should have been a game winner, and then the Red Sox came back and scored in the bottom half of the inning. And then the next day I'm sitting. And that was my big argument with Billy Beane. I never would argue with Billy Beane unless I have ammo to go in there and argue with him. That was my big thing, was just that when I'm hot, dude, ride with me, man. And when I suck, I get it.
So that was Eric Burns at the end. That was Will Clark at the beginning. Yeah. And I think that they point out, too, guys, Dusty Baker just won the World Series, been around forever. Bochy obviously is going to go into the Hall of Fame as a great manager, and we're seeing the greatness of Bruce Bochy. So when somebody asks, hey, what's the difference between Chris Woodward and what's the difference between Bruce Bochy when we're comparing? Because it's just not fair, right, Woody? And there's half-truths to this. Woody didn't have a very talented team for the years that he was here. Bochy does have more talent on his team, but you have to remember he's missed Seager for more than half of the season right now. And why is Zeke doing so well? Ezekiel Duran batting .305 with an .814 OPS. He's riding him. He's not sitting him because, well, the analytics say even though he went 3 for 4 yesterday with a home run and 3 RBIs, he's facing a right-handed guy that has a good slider, and analytically, all the numbers are telling me that he's going to have a bad game tomorrow. Why? He's feeling very confident. He's good. Now, if he does go 0 for 4 in that game, I sit him and I go back to Josh Smith.
Right.
But as long as he's hot, I'm going to ride the hot hand. So this takes the analytic people out of it because they've never played baseball before. They can't get, there's no such thing as somebody was hot yesterday, so they're going to stay hot today. It's a brand new day, and we put everybody at their highest efficiency, and what their numbers are is what their numbers are. They're going to have a bad day today. It doesn't matter what they did yesterday. That's half truth. That is half true, because it might just be a bad matchup, and he's going to prove to you again that he can't hit this guy based off of he's 1 for 22 in his career off of him. But what if he's so hot and so confident that he goes in with a different mindset and a different attitude in this game? Same thing with the guy who is really cold. Well, he is 4 for 8 against this guy with a home run. Well, maybe you do give him that extra day because you got to get him going. And I think Robbie Grossman, one of the things that got him out of his 1 for 28 slump was batting him second. I thought that was really, at the time, I was like, what the hell's Bochy doing?
Yes.
Like, this is our worst hitter in our lineup, and he's going to bat him second now that Seager's hurt, and it jump-started him and got him out of. And then I asked Mark McLemore about it. He said, when you're batting second and you have a good hitter in front of you and a good hitter behind you, the pitcher has to throw more strikes to you because he cannot throw his best stuff, because if he nibbles and he misses, he's walked a bad hitter.
And Grossman's
And so
a strike
now
hitter.
you go back to your pitching coach. He's like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, we got Nate Lowe coming up and Marcus Semien was in front of him. You got to challenge this guy. Well, now when you have to challenge a guy, you get better pitches to hit. And it got him out of his slump by getting better pitches to hit than rather batting him, let's just say, behind Leody Taveras or Bubba Thompson. Nothing against these guys, but they're not much of threats. You might find Robbie Grossman as a little bit more of a threat than those guys in situations and pitch them a little bit tougher.